and I'm gonna share my screen. I got linked up with Maryland Capital Enterprises probably in 2020. I was the runner-up entrepreneur of the year, and then I came back the next year and won it. So, and I love going to all their events, and they are super helpful with just all things business, even just networking and just meeting just other people in the community that are, passionate about entrepreneurship. It just kind of helps me get out of my childcare bubble, my educator bubble. So they're definitely a great resource to hop in. Yes, hello. And it's just a one-woman show, so I'll look in the chat when I can, and then we'll get moving from there. So, share. I've gotten so used to Google Meet. Okay, all right. Can everybody see? We good? Good. See my presentation?
I see it.
All right, great. Okay. All right. So we're going to dive into this idea of like thinking more like a CEO. I don't care if you have, you're just a one-woman show, one-man show with your home child care center, or maybe you own a large child care center. We're more than educators, right? That's wonderful that we're that, but we're also CEOs and leaders, and there are people counting on us to run thriving, successful, profitable businesses so that you get a return on your investment, all the money and time that you've poured in to start this business. Also, you have staff and you want to expand, all that costs money. And I know that we don't want to constantly be raising tuition. And when you look at big companies, and we'll kind of talk about some examples as I ramble on in my introduction, but they diversify, they think big picture, and they don't just have one stream of revenue. And tuition is one stream. And as we know, the Child Care Scholarship Program is frozen right now. And so new families are not necessarily being accepted unless they meet certain criteria. So where I was a business where that was a huge chunk of my income a couple years ago, I'm like, hey, we need to start looking at some other avenues. So I'm not stressing if maybe we lose families because they didn't keep up with their status, with their scholarships. Things happen, and I don't want to be panicking, right? We don't want to be in a crunch. So this is why we're gonna have classes like this and talk about stuff like this of thinking like a CEO, not just a child care owner, not just an early childhood educator, not just a director, but a true CEO, so we can, start to flesh out our business. All right, so I think I already answered that question, what it means to think like a CEO. When I first started my business, I was very much in teacher mindset. I used to teach high school. I decided I want to start a business. I started an evening overnight childcare center and knew nothing about business. And I thought I knew what I was doing because I have a doctorate, right? Like I've been a school teacher. I went to college. I have all the degrees. So I didn't think that I needed any additional support when it came to business. And I quickly found out that I did not know what I was doing when it came to business. I could have licensing be okay. I had a checklist for all of that. But when it comes to being creative and resilient and being able to pivot, I don't know how many of you guys were in business during COVID, but I know there were a lot of centers that closed during COVID. And so being able to pivot and being able to, be recession proof and be okay when these vouchers are not going through. It's really about thinking like long term beyond the day to days, and those can make us busy sometimes, all the time. So CEOs are thinking years. What's the 5-year plan? How can we take 5 years and pull in money? A lot of times with big companies, they may only have they'll have a CEO for maybe 3 to 5 years. They do a small contract and then they move on and they bring somebody else in. And so when they bring somebody in, it's like, what is your plan for the next couple of years? And so tonight, I just want you to be thinking about looking at your business in years. Where do you see your business in 5 years? And really dedicate time to thinking about those plans, those long-term plans. So CEOs, they lead with strategy and not survival. I'll just go from personal experience. As a new childcare owner back in 2018, 2019, and I would probably say up until about 2022, I was definitely leading with survival. I was not leading with strategy. It was pay the rent late so we can keep the lights on, and pay the light bill late so we can keep the water on, and pay all of it late so that I can make payroll. So it was just constantly week to week and check to check and checking the mailbox when the check is coming, and asking parents for things and trying to just hustle to get more money in. I was never thinking beyond the week. I wasn't thinking beyond payroll. My life used to just be every 2 weeks, first and 15th, right? It was rent, payroll, and then payroll again. So that's all I was thinking about. And we may think like, well, I have to think about payroll. I have to think about these things. And like, yes, you do, but it should not consume all of your time if you're going to switch to a CEO mindset. There is somebody that has their thing on. Okay, all right. The next part is like you can't grow if you're stuck in the daily fires. And what I mean by that is like it can be real easy to just get caught up in the day to day, right? So like I'm working in my center today and it's very easy for me to get wrapped up. We had a little one that's having a tantrum, but there was already two people on it, so I kind of stepped away. I could have easily just got into that. Bulletin boards, like there's just always stuff to do around in your center, and I can be fooling with the day to day. But what I'm doing is I'm working on projects that are going to sustain us to the end of the year, and I'm starting to think about quarter one instead of weekly thinking. When I say weekly thinking, it's like okay, payroll, groceries, menu, things like that. Um, what that does is we're just constantly getting money and we're spending a bill. We're something's coming in and we're immediately making we're doing something with it. You know, often we don't have the time or the money to be thinking, well, let me budget for the next 5 years. In 5 years, I'm going to do this. I should be setting money aside now. Many of us are not even thinking like that. And it wasn't until I started thinking long term that I was able to make time and space to start cultivating some other streams of revenue. Um, the next part is, we're going to go into a little bit more about this. So we're also going to be talking about quarterly thinking, which I've mentioned a little bit. Okay, so we are actually on the fourth quarter of the year, and most big businesses, it's like, you know, let's run to the finish line and see if we can get those profit margins up, or you know, whatever their goals are. So I like to think about my year in four chunks. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago, I'm already starting to think about quarter one. So right now in October, I'm thinking, what are we doing January, February, March? What are the big things that we want to put in place? What are some events we want to put on the books? What are some grants we're going to be applying for? What are some events we want to attend? Like I'm already thinking. And the reason why I like that is because it allows me to focus kind of on one thing at a time without me getting overwhelmed. If you sat down today and said, hey, this month I want to get professional development done, I want to have outreach activity, I want to do a trunk or treat. And the reality, there are people that are sitting, maybe one of them that are sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, Halloween's almost here. I should be doing a trunk or treat. I should be going to trunk or treats. I should be doing all these things. And we get stressed out and then we don't do anything. Or we do it too fast and it ends up not being what we wanted it to be. We get discouraged and then we don't want to do it again next year. Because it's like, well, nobody came. I spent all that money. Maybe we should have started thinking about that in June, you know, like quarter two or quarter three. It gives space to just some really big ideas. If you're thinking about your quarters for next year, so let's say quarter three of next year, so that will start in July. So July, August, September, back to school. They do all type of, I think, national night out, if they can use in August. So just if you start looking at things for third quarter for next year, and let's say once a week, once a month, you just kind of say, hey, let's just tuck some money aside. Let's, you know, what do we want to bring, games, whatever. And you just kind of start taking notes on it. It's not going to, you know, smash, you know, it's not going to be in your face all of a sudden. Oh my gosh, August is here. National night out is here. We didn't plan. We don't have a table. We don't have any of these things to go because we didn't even think about it. We might get overwhelmed of just the idea of going to an event, especially if it's just you. You might feel, am I even prepared to go to an event like this? What would that even look like other than passing out business cards? You know, we always bring games. We have a few mascots. Our mascots are nighttime animals. We have owls, possums, raccoons, and a bat. So right now we actually have a suit that is an owl and we have a raccoon suit, and they wear our little t-shirt with our little logo, and that's what we use to go to those events. But I would have never thought about getting a mascot unless I was thinking between now and then, can I come up with, you know, $200-300 for a mascot? Yeah. And then let's say the quarter of the next year, 2 quarters later, I was able to put money together to get a second one. And the kids love it. And people come up and take lots of pictures with my mascots. And the night watch is right on their belly. So everybody gets to see it. I'm on a call. Now you just stay out of the camera. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. They're my little cousins. Okay. They're getting ready to leave. All right. Kids basically ideas. Okay. Yeah, and it keeps events and everything just kind of organized. I put professional development on there. So licensing usually comes for us in July, right? So instead of panicking in June and July, looking at everybody's files, does everybody have their 12, you know, hours? Each quarter, I'm looking and saying, okay, how much do we have so far? I have a couple of folks who I have one who's in an apprenticeship program, so she's working on her 45-hour classes. I have another one who's enrolled at Salisbury University, so she's taking college classes. I had another one who took a college class over the summer. So, but then I have some that haven't done any. So I'm looking for professional development for them. But I do that every quarter just to kind of make sure that we're not stressing and worrying and last minute trying to get certificates done and printed out. Because even for myself, because I have to have them too. So every month I'm like, let me go ahead and bang one of these out. If you do, your 3 hours every quarter, you're going to have your 12 by the time licensing comes. So that's why I put PD on there as well. Okay, overwhelmed, organized. All right, so we like to set quarterly goals for each of these. So we're kind of slipping from the strictly business over into childcare world a little bit, but these are all, if we take our business seriously, these are things that we probably should be doing each quarter. And some of you might already do it, especially that first one. Licensing is a big deal. We don't want to panic. We don't want her staying long. We want her to be able to come in, check the milk, look at a couple files, look at the shop records, and get on out of here, right? So what can we do to kind of prepare for this? And big companies, they have whole sweetheart. Please have a seat in the chair. Thank you so much. Okay, all right. Anyway, they have whole departments that with accountants, and they do their own internal auditing, and they have just internal auditors that just make sure that the numbers match and that the files are correct. And so we should be doing the same thing. We should give it the same seriousness so we're not panicked, because I've panicked before. Remember I said before 2022, I really was just trying to figure things out. So this was one of them. With your staff, the professional development. Thank you. Actually, do me a favor. Go stand by the door. Thank you so much. Diary of a child care on the way. Okay, all right. It's my little cousin's waiting for my mother-in-law to leave. She's one of our teachers. Okay, all right. So the next piece is the community events and marketing. So I think it's really important. I'm going to keep talking and I'm going to go shut the door. The community events and marketing is important because, again, sometimes we can get overwhelmed. We can get overwhelmed with just the concept of going to a big event or even having an event for ourselves. Early on with me, we would have an event and nobody would come. But my parents work nights. So for them to work nights and then want to come in on a Saturday or Sunday for an event, it really wasn't working. So what we started doing, we started going to other people's events. And it actually was a lot easier because we would just kind of show up with our table, right? And other people are marketing and other people are bringing it in. So I mentioned things like National Night Out. That was a no-brainer for us to go because we didn't have to do much. We also try to partner up with our local elementary schools. So I know they had a big thing when school went back. But putting it on the calendar and planning ahead of time, having our little outreach, a wagon that we have flyers and things, we have bubbles that we put stickers on, we have our mascots, we do all of those different things so that we don't feel overwhelmed, we don't feel unprepared. And we're kind of we got this. We're kind of in a routine now. People do invite us to come because they love the mascots. People do to come invite us out because we bring games, we bring bubbles, we're engaging with the families. So people do invite us out. Now we're at this place where let's start having events for ourselves. So this weekend we're having our second autism awareness play date, and parents are coming. People are signing up. But we're still a fairly small child care center. So, when I say we had 8 people, that was successful, 8 new people that weren't, our child care families. Get a cup of coffee. They're sharing kind of war stories, so to speak, about getting their kids services and speech and language and all of the things that their kids may need. And we live on the Eastern Shore, so not having those resources can be challenging. So we're just creating a safe space for our families. And when you're thinking about those quarterly goals, we are trying to do one at least once a quarter. And we might try to beef it up to 2. But because I know there's just one, and I knew it was going to be months away from, now, we didn't feel so stressed. We had plenty of time to make flyers and let community organizations know and our partners know, and sending out emails to everybody and posting it in strategic Facebook groups. So we had plenty of time. We don't feel like we're rushing, and we've already done this, and we're seeing what other people are doing. So by going to community events with other people, learning what they're doing, try to adopt it just to kind of build your confidence a little bit so that, I mean, I'm just talking for myself, building my confidence a little bit just to make sure that, you know, parents are having a good time and it feels like a very comprehensive, event. Okay. The next part is about the professional development. I kind of chatted about that already. But like I said, my quarterly goal, I won't dive into that much again. But my goal is that everybody has at least 3 per quarter so that come July, we're ready to go. Like we just did our basic health and safety. So that was, I think, a credit and a half, or not credit and a half, but an hour and a half. So then I only had to get another hour and a half for folks who were not taking any other classes. The last thing is, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, is I would just like to challenge you with new revenue ideas. And I don't mean more tuition. And I don't necessarily mean extended hours unless you're trying to do like a date night. But remember, people have to be like fully enrolled with shop records and all that sort of thing. So it would be, it's not undoable, like it's not impossible, but I think some people think, oh, it's just kind of last minute. It's just easier to call a babysitter. But if you could really flesh that out as a business and maybe have like a membership where they get two nights a weekend, 2 Friday evenings, or a Saturday, or like whatever you work it out with licensing. I mean, you can be open whenever you want. You just have to let licensing know what you're doing and probably adjust your license a little bit. But I just want to encourage you each quarter to think about and maybe even try a new revenue strategy. I'm gonna take a breath. Sorry, I'm with child. I'm actually with 2, and they take my breath away. So my apologies. All right, I saw somebody had. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, yeah. I love the community events. Yes. And like I said, going to like big ones that are pretty like well known. Like we have Third Friday. That's something we have here in the city of Salisbury. We always go. We will not be going this week because I have baby doctor's appointments in Annapolis and I will not be back in time. So, but I like it because City of Salisbury does all the marketing. City of Salisbury brings the people, and we just show up and we just put on a great table. And kids like to come up. We got bubbles going and music and all of those things. And those are all things that we have kind of curated over time. There was a time where I was sitting at a table with folders and registration paperwork. That's how I started back in 2020, going to events and just sitting there hoping somebody would come up and talk to me. And then I started like handing out candy. And then I realized people were just coming to get the candy and they'd walk away and not speak to me. So that's kind of where we started doing some other things with games and keeping people at the table a little bit just to kind of engage. Okay, so this next part, we'll dive a little bit into this. All right, so one of the big reasons why I love the professional development part is I don't want to panic when licensing comes. I want to feel fully confident that everybody has their certificates, that they have been printed out, they have been linked to a spreadsheet. We have a spreadsheet that my licensing specialist can see all my staff and all of their professional development, all their everything. Everything's nice and clear. And this is not something that I have to worry about. There might be an emergency form from a kid we've had for 4 years. We just didn't get mom to update it this particular year, but maybe it's updated in the app. That kind of stuff happens. But when it comes to professional development, I'm gonna make sure that everybody has their stuff. To be able to schedule things quarterly, I think that it is digestible for staff. I'm not asking for much. I always pay them like they've got time to work on them. And 3 hours over the course of one of these 3 hour classes, and most of you guys know, like we were taking any of the online self-paced ones, they don't actually take 3 hours. So, and again, we're talking over the course of 3 months. So that's like what, 15 minutes a week they could be working on it. It makes it digestible and it makes sure that you're ready. I use free state approved resources. It's called Cox Academy. I think that's what it's called. Anybody use that one? That's the one we use. Like it's free. And what I like about it is you can take the same classes every year, like to renew it and get a fresh certificate. So I do like that. And then lastly, this may involve a conversation, kind of chatting with your staff of like what classes they're taking. Because if I have staff that are taking college classes or they're doing apprenticeship on the side, one, I want to make sure I don't overwhelm them with additional, I guess, kind of like unnecessary professional development. Because if they're already taking it and they've taken their 12 for the year, I don't need to have them take more. But this just makes it a way so I know, like, okay, I'm not going to sign them those 3 hours this quarter because I know she's taking a 45-hour class. I know she's taking a 3 credit college course, and that's going to work out. Okay. Beyond the tuition. Okay. So I'm back to so part of this was not just a CEO, but a CFO, so that Chief Financial Officer. Sometimes I gotta switch hats and be that CFO. So tuition is my base. It's not my ceiling. The tuition is my bread and butter. The tuition is, making sure that you have your Excel's, number as high as you can get it. We would love to get to a 5 one day, but with us being an evening overnight center, the curriculum, like we're not a pre-K. We're not like a school program during the day. All our kids go to a program during the day. So, but anyway, long story short, there are ways that you can kind of enhance your tuition, making sure that you're getting the most. But it doesn't have to be the ceiling, and you don't have to keep increasing your rates to make more money. So this is helpful when you're thinking in quarters, thinking in years. If you've ever done anything with me, you know that I write a lot of grants. I've been able to acquire $850,000 in grants, probably about half of it for my for-profit business. I'll probably say almost $600,000 in grants for my for-profit childcare center, and the rest for my nonprofit organization, the Owls Nest Learning Hub. I do write a lot of grants for myself or for my businesses, and that has become a stream of revenue. But grants are not, and I'll just touch on them briefly. Grants are not something that you can wait for the panic. Like, you can't wait for the fire to be going on and then try to apply for a grant. You can't wait until you're a month behind in rent and try to apply for a grant. Like, that's not what grants are. Grants are more for programming. So we got 2 grants to provide therapeutic childcare services for 2 years. Unfortunately, that program got significantly defunded, and we were not chosen this year, but that's okay. We also have a day program with my nonprofit where young parents can come, and I say young, 18 to 24, and they can bring their littles. And it's 3 days a week, and they're finishing their high school diploma. So those are some programs that I've been able to get funded. Notice I didn't say a playground. Notice I didn't say a new building. Notice I didn't say a bus, a van, any of those things. So that's just a little note on grants. Grants can be a great way to bring in more money to your center, but it's not necessarily like, you can't necessarily spend it on whatever you want to spend it on. And it's not necessarily going to be something for like capital expenses, like getting a new building or paying your wages. It's not necessarily going to sustain your program. It can enhance it and add more value. So we'll move over to events. Right now, we are offering free events, but there are people out here that are doing paid events. As I'm thinking a year from now, like, we have 2 mascots, like 2 whole outfits. We've got somebody here that is an amazing face painter. We've done things with her art. We have people here who can cook. So, like, what's to say we don't have, let's say a night watch party, a night watch dance party, and we have the glow sticks and the music and the animals are out here, pizza party, like something. Like, we could put something together in our center on a Saturday, because right now we're doing those play groups, right? So, what at some point we charge, and let's say it's just $5, just enough to pay for the party. That might be an opportunity where we get to rentals. Somebody might want to rent your space out. I've had somebody inquire with us about a birthday, renting out for a birthday party. It didn't work out. That's okay. Other events you may want to do, and I don't know if I talk about this in another one. Oh, actually, we'll just go to these. All right. Okay. So, yeah, and use whatever what you already have. All right. So I'm going to jump into these a little bit more. Okay. So a Saturday drop-in. So I'm not your licensing specialist, but there are different regulations for drop-in care versus full-time childcare, which is what most of you are. So while you could market it as drop-in care, you will still need to have them enrolled as a full-time. Like, they're still going to need shot records and health inventory and all of that. Versus a drop-in center where, if you were open during COVID, there was like a very short medical form that parents could fill out. They didn't need shot records. They didn't need anything from the doctor. And we were able to kind of streamline enrollment with those forms. And that's what a drop-in is. Most of us are not drop-in centers. So when I say a Saturday drop in, that's how I would market it. But again, I would make sure that everybody was still enrolled like properly. So these are just some numbers. If you had 10 kids come and they spent for $20 and came for 4 hours or three and a half, this is kind of what it could look like. And it doesn't sound like a whole lot at first, oh, $20, but almost $5,000 at the end of the year, that'd be a nice Christmas for your staff, like a nice Christmas party, right? If you doubled it and maybe did 2 sessions on a Saturday, it got really busy. Let's say you start doing it all the Saturdays, you do it 4 Saturdays, and like it's little money, but it will add up at some point. Even at that $400 a month, like that would cover most. That would probably cover 2 weeks of groceries for us, maybe three. Then we're a small center, but we do serve dinner and snack every night. It might pay one of my light bills. I have two units, but it could chip away at something. It would pay for my insurance premium, so it might not pay all of your wages, but some of these things can chip away at some of the smaller bills. All right, preparing for the crisis before the crisis. Okay, so we'll loop back around to audits. Audit everything before it breaks, so to speak. With my center, I'm real big on checklists, and I'm real big about staying on the little things. And this is from coming back from when I was a school teacher. I did not have a lot of behavior problems because I stayed on those kids' necks about the littlest thing. And so the big things didn't happen. I didn't have kids fighting and hollering and cussing and all that garbage. Like I ran a pretty tight ship. And so as I moved that leadership over here, we have a checklist that has to happen every day, and it's the little things. It's, do we have milk? What's the refrigerator looking like? Temperature wise, are all the outlets covered? Well, if we stay on those little things, the big stuff doesn't happen. The checklist for me help peace of mind. It's also great for, it doesn't matter who's doing the checklist. It's very clear. So it's not, oh, well, the way this person opens the center versus the way that person opens the center is different. It should be the same all around, because I literally take the regulations of what licensing is looking for, like the things they can immediately look at in a center, and I put it on a checklist. Keeps that communication and procedures right. And ultimately, when we are preparing for the crisis, I also like, as a strategy, is building strong relationships with families is a great way to kind of prepare for the crisis. And you have good rapport with families. We have great rapport with our families. I love my families. Some of them have been rocking with me since 2018, because we can keep kids up till they're 12. So we have kids that have been with us and are about to age out of the program. We have very strong relationships with our families. We all see things on social media where something happened at a center, and next thing you know, it's on the 5 o'clock news, or somebody's mugshot is being shared everywhere. Like things happen. And I mean, people do bad things, they should get in trouble, and licensing should be called, and all of those things. But I also know that there are some centers out there that have a very tense relationship with families, and they're complaining about families in Facebook groups, and the families are complaining about the daycare. And I just like, absolutely not. Like, we're going to squash things, we're going to handle things, and we're going to build great rapport. So if there is a misunderstanding or something does happen, I'll just give you an example. We had a young lady a few years ago, and she's older, like school age kid. The kids were outside playing, and apparently she had fallen off of a scooter that we had outside. She doesn't say anything. She gets on the scooter and she continues to play. The night goes fine. The kids come in, they have a dance party, like everything's fine. She goes home. Mom's like, hey, what happened to your knee? Oh, well, I scraped it. Well, what did the teachers do? Well, they didn't do anything. That's the conversation they have between, 9-year-old little girl and mom. So mom, of course, is upset of, well, what happened? You didn't do anything for my daughter. But because we had a great rapport with her, we said, hey, we talked with staff. They didn't even know anything had happened. So that turned out to be a teachable moment, going back to kind of preparing for the crisis, where we talked to all of our kids and said, hey, if you get hurt outside, like, you're not in trouble. We're not going to make you stay inside if you're fine. You just got to come and tell us, because, mom comes to us and says, hey, my little girl got hurt and you guys didn't do anything. But obviously that wasn't the full story. She was fine and continued to play throughout the night. And then I guess later, I don't know, and it could have started getting stiff after she got home. Who knows? Anyway, long story short, that could have turned into something ugly. She could have skipped and just called licensing and said, my daughter got hurt and they didn't do anything. We know things can get blown out of proportion when communication isn't there. So that's why I like to say that building strong relationships with your families is vital for preventing a crisis. Because sometimes just a conversation to get all the information out, make sure everybody's fully informed of what actually happened, that can prevent a crisis. Okay. Keep your team calm and ready. Okay. So regular check-ins prevent chaos, as in like checking with my staff, making sure everything's okay. I'm not a big like staff meeting person, so I just like kind of having side conversations as they kind of go. My center manager, she's the one that does the meetings more, but those regular check-ins, even for just for people to feel heard, to feel like their frustrations are being, listened to, making sure that they feel like they're part of the solution, that their emotions and feelings are valid is really important. Um, the next part, and this is when I'm curating professional development for my staff, teaching staff how to talk to parents is really important. We want to make sure that they're being given consistent information. When people come to the door, they might knock on the door and want information about the center, instead of my staff feeling like, I have no idea how much we charge. What is the rate? And is there a registration fee? And like, parents are coming with all these questions. They already noticed that, hey, everything you need is going to be on our website, and just kind of directing people to the website, because they would have to schedule a tour and things like that. We don't necessarily let people pop in while we have kids. Like, nobody does that. But making sure that all of my staff have the same response when it comes to, like, if they go to an event, for instance, and let's say somebody's looking for a job, head on to the website. There's a little button that says employment, and they can send a resume. So just kind of teaching the staff through professional development, through those little check-ins, through the modeling, and just very clear communication. And the other thing we work with our staff is just like to make sure we're writing everything down, which most people do. We have those big incident reports, God forbid you have to do one of those like major incident reports, but even the little stuff, we were putting it in our app, the app that we use. And however you guys keep your documentation, but super important. Okay. So now we get into the long-term expansions and the long-term goals. These are the ones I really like because I don't feel pressured to do them right now. Payroll, let's do next Wednesday, right? You know what I mean? So like those things, urgent, got to take care of it. But when I'm thinking about like next July, hopefully we're going to be in a new center. I don't feel so stressed out about talking about something that's going to happen next year. It gives me opportunities to dream big, because I don't know what our finances are going to look like next year. We're working towards having more money and more families. So like anything, I'm very optimistic when it comes to these big dreams and getting things funded, and prioritizing them. Also, if it's us, my business that is necessarily is the one that's going to be primarily funding these things. If I know that I have 12 months to save for it or 6 months to save for it, it makes it a whole lot more digestible than having to come up with it in 2 weeks. Just like payroll can be stressful sometimes, or rent, because it's coming every 2 weeks. Rent's coming once a month, the electric bill's coming, the water bill, all of these different things that are coming. But if you can plan for something that's going to be 6 months from now, it might not be so overwhelming, and you might be willing to kind of play around a little bit. Like, if next summer I had an extra $10,000, an extra $5,000, what would I do? This also allows for like things like planning trips, conferences, and upgrades. What I mean by upgrades is, so we went to a conference in April. It was in Orlando, and we were already going to go. So we're already in Florida, we're staying in a hotel, but we have money to take folks to Disney. So like, we took two of my staff, and then my husband and I included. We're both obviously staff at Night Watch. We were able to go, and we have money. We were able to go to Magic Kingdom for a day, and it was great, and had a ball. But we planned for that, and I'm budgeting for that. So every year I'm thinking, okay, we're on spring break. We like to kind of shut down a little bit, do some professional development. And those that are able to go can come with us on a trip. But that doesn't happen if I'm not thinking about it, because April will be here before you know it. And I just want to make sure that we have the funds available to do those types of things. Some other things, paid maternity leave. Some of you might already be in a spot that you can do that. As a small business, that's something that I'm like, oh, I don't know if I could sustain that. But my center manager is pregnant. So we're both pregnant. We're about a month apart. So I'm already like, okay, what do I got to do? When is she going to go on leave? I got to make sure I have money set aside, that I have money that can let her stay home, paid, and support her while she's home, while also having somebody in to come replace her. So I'm not stressed out about it, because I've got months to take care of it, and I'm going to plan where we're putting money aside to make sure that happens. Another thing we're looking to do is possibly get a van next year. There's one for sale right now in front of our building, but right now wasn't the time. So I now kind of know how much these vans go for, and it's like, by the end of next year, like if I were able to put X number of dollars down, could I purchase something used? Could I put something down on something? Maybe I should be renting. It gives me plenty of time to kind of look through my options. Maybe leasing a van might be better because then I don't have to worry about maintenance. I don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff. And it's fully deductible on my taxes, where sometimes vehicles are not tax professional, but I feel like you can't take the whole thing off if you purchase a vehicle, but I could be very wrong. And then the last one is like a staff retreat. So of course I love to go to conferences, but wouldn't it be nice if we just all got to go to a retreat with just us and have like a nice experience and just kind of recharge and bond? That would also be nice too. Okay, so all right, I think we're on this part now. I knew your dream. Okay, so what I would love for you to do, after I'm done rambling and you kind of let this settle, you're thinking about in the shower tomorrow morning, I want you to think to yourself, what would you like to add to your center by the year's end? All right, it's quarter four. So end of December, what is something that you would like to add? If that feels too overwhelming, then think about what would you like by next year's end? What's one new revenue stream that you would like to test? So it might be the events, it might be the rentals. If you're a small, a setup, selling curriculum, using something like Teacher Pay Teacher or Etsy or something. If you're already making the materials, consider maybe selling it. I sell lesson plans. I don't make a whole bunch. I maybe make on a good month, maybe $20 a month, but $20 a month is $20 a month, So I'm okay with that. And then how can I plan for it now? Not in crisis mode. So just be thinking, how can you pace these things out so you're not stressing out? This should be fun. This should not be something that you are stressing out about. And I wouldn't necessarily be counting, like, don't count your, what they call it, don't count your chickens before they hatch. Yeah, when we start doing that, when it comes to plans, that's when things can be stressful. So just plan and execute. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And that's okay. All right. So if you would like to, so that's kind of that's my presentation. So these are some other ways that, Command Cap at Enterprise used to be in here. Sorry, put that in there. Man. Okay. All right. So I'm on TikTok. Wealthy Childcare is my username. Dr. Amy Stewart is my username on Instagram. I kind of post up the same stuff on both, but I do post more things on TikTok. I don't know if you're a TikToker. And then also on my website, dramystewart.com, I do have some free resources, just stuff about networking, stuff about just kind of getting more business into your center. But if you were looking for things like funding, business, like let's say you're like, hey, additional stream of revenue. I have a van and I'm not using it during the day. What could I do? Maryland Capital Enterprises would be a great opportunity to sit with somebody, and they can help you flesh out that. Sorry, I was summoned. They can do a great job at helping you flesh out that like sub business plan. They can even help you beef up your big one for your childcare center. But let's say you want to do a transportation service, or maybe you want to do a tutoring center, or maybe you want to do these events on Saturdays. They can be somebody that can say, okay, let's get all the parts of the business plan. And if it's a solid business plan, they might even be able to help you utilize and leverage your current business, your current finances and things to maybe even get funding to get something like that moving. So let's say you wanted to have an ice cream truck, like whatever it is that you think would be a good kind of, shooting off of your childcare center, they would be a great resource. So, all right, I'll stop talking. If anybody has any questions.
Anybody have any questions? Now's the time. Great presentation, though, Amy. A lot of good tips there, I think.
Awesome. Great.
Hi, Amy.
Hi.
It's Leslie. I just wanted to, I'm wondering if you could be my sister. My last name was Stewart.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
What's your mom's name? I'm just joking. I'm just kidding.
Me too. I was like, oh, we're exactly the same. Yeah, this was a great presentation. Oh, let me see.
Good.
I'm home cooking. Let me see if I can get on my camera. Hold up. Can you, here I am. Hi.
Yep. Oh, yeah, we're definitely sisters. Now
Yeah,
I see the resemblance. Yep, yep.
yeah, no, but yeah, so I'm in here trying to cook dinner. So I just got my background blurred a little bit. But
No
yeah, the
problem.
presentation was great.
Good, good, good,
I-
good. I'm glad to hear.
yeah, and I don't really have any questions because you answered. When you presented, you answered all the questions as well. So it was a
Beautiful.
yeah, yeah. So it was a great presentation.
Good,
Yeah.
good, good. Yep, Zanette, of course, of course. Yep. Well, if I won't keep anybody,
I do want to ask a question. Do we
yeah.
get anything for this for like any no. Okay, I didn't
No, unfortunately, no. This isn't
but
through
that's okay.
MSCE. Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
that's
strictly
all
through
right.
Maryland Capital Enterprises.
Okay, okay. What is it? What is it? Maryland what?
Maryland Capital Enterprises.
I was trying to figure out what that was for. Okay.
We're recording this too, so you'll get a link to the recording, and
Oh,
then
great.
it'll come with an email from me, so you'll have all of our information. Maryland
Okay.
Capital
Okay.
Enterprises. We have
Cool.
a YouTube channel that's got actually it's got some of Amy's ones that we did about a year or so ago, a couple of years
Mm-hmm.
ago.
Okay, cool. I'll check
So
that
there's
out.
some more out there. But you'll get all that information. Hopefully tomorrow, once I get this recording worked up and send it all out to you, and you'll have all the information. Get in touch with us if you have any business, anything business that you want to discuss, business plans, the good thing about us is we can help with the business plans. We have all these great educational webinars that we do, and
Mm-hmm.
all of these things. Plus, if you're looking for funding, we have funding right here too. So, all in
Okay.
one.
Yes.
Okay,
And
great.
they're also great. They have like we had this class tonight, but they bring in other folks from different banks. Um, I feel like they've had people from insurance companies come, so they
Yeah.
build in other professionals that the childcare world doesn't always expose us to. But
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure you know, like our insurance rates are going through the roof right now with childcare. I just got my premium, and I'm like, it's almost $100 more. So just having those other experts, lawyers, and things like that, that we might not have access to, that we can come and just like tonight, you guys can ask me any questions. That's typically what happens. They'll come, they'll do a presentation, they'll share their contact information should you want to talk further. And
Okay.
they also Maryland Capital Enterprises. I've also used them for things like if you want to sign up to be a like a minority owned business, they have somebody that can kind of walk you through that too. They have free counselors. Like it's when he sends you that email, please make sure that you get on their email list. I don't know if there's going to be a sign up form or something, but like they are a world of knowledge. They've really helped me as a business owner way more than licensing. No offense to my licensing. She's here to make sure that the kids are safe. They
Right.
are here to help me grow and thrive and make more money and all of those good things.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you.
I don't
Of
even have to
course.
say anything. Way to go, Amy.
Yeah, you don't have to say
Mm.
anything. Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm in Salisbury, but I know that they have an office in Baltimore, right? They have
We
a
have
Yeah.
an
Baltimore
office.
station
Yeah,
too.
we have an office in Baltimore also. We cover the whole Eastern Shore, Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Anne Arundel County. We added Harford County, and we added Calvert County.
Yeah, I'm in
So,
Baltimore County. So where are you located?
uh, I don't have the address rate handy,
I
but
can figure
I'll
that
tell
out.
you what, I will put that in the email that I send out to you.
Okay, great, great. Thank you.
Hi, Amy.
All
How are
right.
you?
Huh? Good. How are you?
Good, good. This is Surinder. I'm just curious. The question I have in my mind may not relate to this workshop. I have a home-based childcare in Ellicott City, Howard County.
Okay.
I'm a former public school teacher.
Same. Yep.
My program is a nature and play-based program.
Oh, I love that.
I teach from scratch. So it's great program. Like you said, we should have a very good relationship with the families, and I love all the families I have so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Good.
great, very high quality care. I'm looking for a space outside, but I'm having difficulties to find a space where I really want to open it. It's a very successful centers around me here in my
Mhm.
neighborhood. I sometimes go there to just for the tour. Um, Technically, I'm not liking it. It's just a limited play area for children.
Mhm.
So for my strategy, I know those slides or all those like it's good rubber material. I feel like it should be more nature-based. Do you guys have any idea I can reach somebody to find a space where I can open my own in Howard County or Baltimore even?
Yeah. So I don't know anybody specific, but here is my suggestion. So just so I'm gathering, so you want to move from your home and you want to go to a bigger center with a nice big outdoor space.
Right.
Okay. All right. Is it one of those centers that like the kids stay outside all the time, or you just do a lot of nature-based
It's
stuff?
the mixed, like not
Okay,
all
great.
the time outside. So
Okay.
most of the time we are outside.
Okay, beautiful. So what my suggestion would be is get up with your licensing specialist and get all the building specifics. Like you're moving from a home into a big center. So sinks, bathrooms, all of those things that you're going to need to have for a building, right? I also would do the
Right.
same thing when it comes to the fire marshal, just so you are very aware, because a building versus a home is different. Once you
Right.
have that information, I would start calling commercial realtors in your area and ask them, do you have any experience with child care centers? Like when I first started, mine did not. So there was a lot of we get to the end, we're about to open, and it's like, oh, they didn't do this, and oh, they didn't do that. This is now my second rodeo, so I need to ask all those questions ahead of time. So that's who I would go for, and just be very clear about what you're looking for. I would say in that area, especially if there's a lot of successful child care centers, there's somebody out there who is getting them into these spaces. So that's I would call some of the bigger ones, like your I can't even think off the top of my head what they're called, like any of the commercial real estate places in your area. But can you turn that back on, please? Thank you.
One
Okay.
of the realtor was working with me. He's a commercial realtor, but he was out of county. I know him for a long time, but he was founding a property for me. It was out of budget, like
Mhm.
$2+ million properties.
Yeah.
So
Have,
that was
are you
out of my,
considering renting? Oh, absolutely. Have you
yes,
considered renting, or you're just looking to
definitely.
purchase?
Yes, renting also, yeah.
Okay. There is and last I checked, they were still open. It's called the Child Care Revolving Loan Fund. They just opened it back up this year. It's on the MSDE website. It's called the Child Care Revolving Loan Fund, and it is specific for child care centers looking to expand. So I think you can get up to like $50,000. Now they're going to ask for all this paperwork, and I don't know what your budgets are. We were a bigger center. We were able to get just $10,000, but it was enough to get our whole center painted. But I didn't have money to do that when we first opened, and I'm covering up patches with posters because that's all the money I had to get the
I
center
can
open.
see, yes.
But that might be an option, just to, if you could get $10,000, and if you have that business
Yeah,
plan and everything, but
any
it's yeah.
penny, it works. It helps.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
that would be a good start. And then Maryland Capital Enterprises, they are also, because
Can
you're going
you
to need
repeat one
capital
more
money
time the name you were saying?
of the loan,
Yes,
the Child Care Revolving Loan Fund.
okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
It's on MSDE website?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You're going to have to dig for it. So I
Mm,
would start by searching the name of that loan.
I see.
And yeah, if you go on MSDE, they bury everything in the website.
It's
So
very confusing whenever I'm opening it. It confuses me all the time.
yeah.
Yes.
So I would search the loan fund, and hopefully it'll take you right to the link.
Thank you. I
Of
love
course.
your emails, the messages you send. That
Oh, good.
my
Good.
emails. Yes. Thank you.
Good.
Please
Of
keep
course.
sending if you have any other workshops.
Yes, ma'am. We'll do.
All
I think
right.
we've got 3. I think we have 2 more left on the books with Maryland Capital Enterprises. So when he sends that out again, just make sure you're on their email list so you'll get the link.
Thank you. You all have a good
course.
evening.
You too.
Mhm.
Anybody else? All right. Thank you.
Anybody? All right. Well, thank you, Amy, for
Of course.
like I say, there was a lot of good points there, I think. And
Great.
thank everybody for attending tonight. And there will be one I think it's next Thursday night also, same time.
Okay.
And
Great.
and then I'll send out the link. And with that, if nobody else has any questions, we'll see you next time.
All right. See you guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
All right, you
Thank
too.
you.
Thanks everybody.
Good night.
Night.